The odds of making it in Hollywood are slimmer than the waistlines of the actors that graze the red carpets. Only 2% of actors make enough money to financially support themselves doing just that. So when someone rises to fame, starts booking steady gigs, and becomes a regular on famous shows like SNL and The Simpsons, you've made it, right? Well, making it doesn't solve all problems, maybe just some financial ones. It certainly can't solve a marriage on the rocks. It might just make it deadly. So we've got actually quite a few new Patreon supporters to thank and shout out today.
Heyo.
Drum roll, please. All right, so we have Kristen, Amber, Mary Beth, Lauren, Rachel, A-OK, Amanda, Elizabeth, and James.
Welcome, everyone.
Woo!
Welcome.
That is crazy.
That's awesome.
And so we do have a couple of Supremos, and so they have a surprise shot dedication. So today we are going to do a dedication to one of our most loyal Supremos, Lauren.
Hey, Lauren.
Who has given us some amazing story ideas. So Jen, she didn't have a specific message, and this is mostly because I'm picking this for her as our first official Supremo on the new Patreon.
Surprise shots. Surprise shots. We don't know what they are because they're a surprise.
Oh, that was 3.
Yeah.
Shit.
I was a slow one. I'm concerned. I don't like clear liquor unless I know what it is. And normally...
This is the best for the best Supremo around Lauren. Cheers, guys.
Tequila.
Oh, yes. Okay, that was great. Thank you.
That was Patron.
Oh, God, that's so
good.
smooth.
So good.
Nothing but the best for Lauren.
What day does Cinco de Mayo fall on this year?
The 5th of May?
I think...
What the fuck?
She meant like day of the week.
Well, that's date, not day.
No, date is the 5th. Day is the day of the week.
I want to say Saturday,
You
but let me
you
confirm.
said date.
I said day. I said what
date?
Day? No, I said day.
You said date.
No.
I didn't. You can play it back.
I'll play it back.
Go ahead. Do it.
Hang on.
I also said surprise shots this week.
So, thanks everyone for...
It's on a Wednesday.
Boo.
Although, you know what is hilarious? I keep thinking back to, remember how at the beginning of 2020, there was this like calendar meme of like,
Everything is on a Saturday.
falls on a great day this year. And
Yeah.
then like no one was able to do anything.
Well,
It
that's
was
why
great.
I'm having my housewarming party about all the holidays because
I love
everything
it.
got all fucked up.
Exactly. It's perfect.
And now everything that got fucked up is going to be translated to everyone is going to get fucked up.
So we actually, for next week, just so that you guys are clear, Kristen gave us 2 ideas for her surprise shot dedication. So I may actually have us do both because they both sound amazing. Just a heads up. We may do 2 surprise shots for Kristen next week.
Okay, I'm down with that.
And by the way, Kristen is an actress, and she has been on one of our favorite shows, Jen.
Not you. You don't like that show.
I do like that show.
Which one?
Orange is the New Black.
Oh.
No shit.
Never mind.
What role did she play?
She has been seen as one of the prison inmates.
I was thinking something else. I was thinking Walking Dead for some reason.
I loved The Walking Dead, but I stopped
never saw
watching it when one of my favorite characters was at risk of dying, and I was like, I can't handle him dying.
The only reason I don't know this already is because I am really, really bad about remembering things, and I did not log on to Patreon this week.
For the Patreon people, thank you so much for joining. By the time you see this, well, it may be out on like a Wednesday, but there will be a Patreon exclusive episode for you about the Death Row Granny.
Ooh.
So, guys, if you are new here tonight, welcome to the Talk Murder to Me podcast. My name is John. I'm here with, who are you?
Hi, I'm your
Niquiz.
wife.
Niquiz and Jen, and we put all of our photos and videos and sources on talkmurder.com. You can go there and click the blog post if you are not driving or if you're driving a Tesla. I gotta stop saying that.
One day we'll all be driving Teslas.
We also are streaming this on youtube.com, and you can go along with us there. I'm putting some Google Earth videos there, and you can actually just watch us, watch me. Now, we're starting this story on May 28th, 1998. All right, so you guys on YouTube, this is where we're going tonight. 17500 Ventura Boulevard, California. This is in Encino. I've never been to California, have you?
Yes, I have. Twice.
Have you been to Encino?
I don't think so. I've been all up and down the coast, actually, the first time that I went to California, but like didn't visit everywhere that we went. We just drove. And then I spent some time in Los Angeles a few years ago.
I'm actually starting this story at the restaurant that the
victim
was at tonight. The restaurant is Buca di Beppo. Buca di Beppo.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Motherfucker. That is not how you say it. It's Italian.
Yeah, Buca di Beppo.
Buca di Beppo. Buca di Beppo.
I like it. It's a great name.
Yeah.
Is it
It's
still,
actually a chain.
still in existence today?
No, not only that, it's a huge chain.
Wow.
There's some in South Carolina.
No way.
I
We
didn't-
gotta go to
Doesn't
we gotta
Buca
go
di
to
Beppo.
Buca di Beppo.
Buca buddy before.
wait, but
Beppo.
doesn't buca mean mouth in Italian?
I don't know.
I know.
Fuck.
I know. Boca is mouth in
I
Spanish.
speak American. I don't speak Buca di Beppo.
Mouth of what?
I don't know.
Buca di Beppo. Guys, if you're new here, I'm already kind of drunk. I'm sorry.
Oh man. Oh boy. This is gonna be painful.
Is this a nice chain or is it like an Italian Applebee's?
Yeah, so it's like a family style chain. It seems pretty nice.
Kind of like that
What?
place, the such the sea, Carrabba's.
Carrabba's.
I love Carrabba.
I do
haven't
too.
been there. Did they close the one on?
No, it's
No,
still
it's
there.
still open.
We should go there.
It's almost like
Maybe
a
they do.
Carrabba's, but honestly, I think
They're
this
good.
this may be a little higher price. Number one, they're in Encino, California, which is kind of an uppity place.
Okay.
And the woman that's there tonight that I'm talking about is somewhat wealthy, so I don't think she would go to a crappy Italian place. But anyway, we're at Buca di Beppo. Buca.
Boca.
All right, so who you're seeing now is Vicki, Vicki Jo Omdahl. She is 40. Well, how old do you think she is?
I would have guessed 40s.
40?
Yeah.
You would have said 40?
Mm-hmm.
She also goes by another name, Brynn Hartman. She has 2 small children. At the time, she had a 9-year-old, Sean, and a 6-year-old, Bergen. Now, they're both still alive, and they are somewhat active on social media, at least Bergen is. She is a small-town Minnesota girl. But even right there, she looks like an actress.
She's very pretty.
She moved
When
to...
was that picture taken? Like, is this in recent?
No. This is probably 1996.
Okay. All right. I was going to say that kind of looks like a 90s hairstyle.
Yeah,
bangs.
she's extremely pretty. I'll put some better pictures of her on the slides here in a second. But she's a small town Minnesota girl, very small town, and no one in her town makes it in Hollywood. So she decides to move on out to Hollywood. She's going to make a name for herself. That's why she's in this Italian restaurant in Encino, California. She is also married with 2 small children, 9 and 6 years old at the time. And I'm not going to get into this yet, but there's some domestic arguments, not physical, but a lot of arguments. So she's actually out drinking with a girlfriend tonight to kind of get away from that. And a little bit about the argument situation in her home. She'll get all worked up, she'll start arguing with her husband. And what he'll do, this is his defense mechanism, and a lot of friends have verified this, he would just simply roll over and go to sleep. And by the morning time, everything would be fine. That was his way of dealing with the arguments in the relationship.
Interesting. They say never to go to bed angry.
Well, he's not angry. Well, basically, he just wants his wife to get out all of her energy, expend it all, and I'm just going to go to sleep. That was like his safe place, being asleep.
Wow, that sounds like me.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like a dick thing to do to your wife or whatever, but that's just what he did. That's how he dealt with the disputes in the house. So she is out drinking tonight with a friend because she's trying to get away from that. All right. So she's at her house initially, and they live in a nice mansion. She gets in her car. She goes to Buca di Beppo. She's drinking with a friend. Later on, she goes to a male friend's house, drinks some more. Then she goes back home. She gets at her home at 1 a.m. in the morning. This is a Wednesday night. She's at an Italian restaurant with a girlfriend. Part owner Tony Penn said that the two women came in, quote, had 2 drinks from 8:30 to 10 p.m. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. They were in an upbeat mood, end quote.
Okay.
So this is going to come out later, but she was actually on 3 separate drugs when she arrived at the restaurant. Number 1 is cocaine.
Whoa.
And she is a medium.
Starting off hard here.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. She is a medium to heavy cocaine user. And how I'm judging that is there was numerous times when someone would walk into the bathroom and see her snorting cocaine off the counter or whatever. And instead of jerking it up, jerking the cocaine away and I don't know what this is, she would calmly ask if they wanted to partake. So to me, that seems like she's a normal user of cocaine right there. So she was definitely on cocaine. She was also on Zoloft, which that's what I'm on.
Mm-hmm.
The Zerchelin, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And according to drugpolicy.org, using antidepressants such as Prozac, Zoloft, and others with cocaine can increase the risk of, quote, serotonin syndrome, a condition when the brain is overloaded with serotonin.
Oh.
This can lead to excessive sweating, tremors, increased heartbeat, and could also lead to seizures, shaking, shivering, and sometimes death. There's also reports that increasing those and using those with alcohol, which she was drinking that night, could lead to blackouts and suicidal thoughts.
Okay.
And let's preface it again. She left her home because her husband decided once again he wanted to settle this argument by rolling over and falling asleep. So she gets in her car, she meets a girlfriend at this Italian restaurant, and they start drinking. And she doesn't get home till 1 a.m. She drinks a lot more after this restaurant, does a lot more cocaine.
Well, when you think about cocaine and alcohol use,
An upper and a downer.
Alcohol is a depressant and cocaine is a stimulant, but then you also have Prozac, which is an SSRI, and that kind of helps to block the serotonin reuptake. So that's kind of like if you take an upper and a downer, it's like kind of balances out, but then you have that other, which is like a third thing.
And you said, was there another drug that she was on, or is alcohol the
Yeah,
other
so
drug?
alcohol,
Okay,
Zoloft.
alcohol would be the other drug. Okay.
Alcohol, Zoloft, and cocaine was found in her system.
Just not a good combination.
So I've done cocaine one time, and so I was really hammered, and it was like 8 p.m., and we wanted to just start the night, but I was like ready to go to sleep. So my buddy was like, here, snort this. So I did, and then I was like, let's party. It was great.
I have heard that like
But don't.
No.
I'm in.
I've never done cocaine, but I have heard that like
yeah.
if you're drinking and you're starting to feel the effects of alcohol kind of making you tired and stuff, you take the cocaine and you're just right back to sober.
That's why Red Bull vodka is the best drink ever.
Nah, nothing like the bliss feeling
Nothing like real rum and coke.
Well, I was also watching a documentary about crack this week, and they were talking about how like cocaine. Well, no, it was relevant. Like,
you mean you were driving down Somerville? Oh, that was burned.
I'm gonna take you downtown Somerville, and you're gonna regret everything that has ever come out of your mouth because it's the cutest little town. No, I was watching a documentary about crack, and they were talking about how cocaine was really more. It used to be like the preferred drug
for
of like
rich people,
for wealthy people,
Yeah.
and then they started to make crack because it it was easier to get a hold of than regular cocaine, and it's also way more addictive.
Well,
Drugs
kind of.
are fascinating.
Kind of. The real reason behind all this was cocaine came out, and then the CIA decided to invent crack and distribute it to the inner cities of America, and they started the crack epidemic.
Right, which is,
the
which is
government
just
started
a little bit more elaborate than what I was saying.
At
Anywho.
least that's what the conspiracy theorists think.
Crack is whack.
She was also on heavy alcohol that night. I'll get to this in a little bit, but her ending BAC was 0.12, and that is after about 5 hours after she stopped drinking.
So she was probably at least double the legal limit. At one point.
She was probably 1.6 maybe, or 0.16, something
which is
like
double
that.
the legal limit.
Okay.
Yeah. So pretty high up there. Now, alcohol, this is according to the Pharmaceutical Journal. Researchers from the UK, they claim that it appears that medications like Zoloft can alter some people's alcohol tolerance, resulting in extreme intoxication. So it won't make your blood alcohol content increase, obviously, but it'd make the effects of it increase. And I saw one statistic where it doubles by 1.5. So if she's at 1.2, let's say that it's at 2.4. So 0.24 because she's on the Zoloft and alcohol.
Did you guys know that the last person on the Titanic was the baker, and he survived because he was so wasted that his blood alcohol content was so high that his blood actually was like almost completely alcohol, so he didn't freeze and he lived.
Fascinating.
Alcohol is so great.
You know where? You know where I heard that?
Where?
My favorite news source.
TikTok? Okay, so that is not a reliable source.
Alcohol did solve the cholera epidemic, though, in the UK.
Really?
Yeah, so how it worked, and I'm not 100% sure about all the specific facts, but there was a statistician, before that was a real thing, the cholera outbreak in the UK, I'm not sure which part, but he decided to map out the whole city, and he's like, okay, there's an outbreak here, and all these little squares in his map, and the only one that did not have the outbreak was what? The pub, right? So that's how he figured out, okay, this is coming in.
Alcohol cures disease.
No, he figured out that people are getting it from the water. So people that aren't drinking water but drinking beer instead, they're fine. So once again, load yourself up every night.
I don't know if I can drink this. I don't know if it tastes like apple juice or pee.
Well, give it to me. I ain't driving anywhere. DoorDash, baby. So going back to this article, quote, it appears that medications like Zoloft can alter some people's alcohol tolerance, resulting in extreme intoxication, impairment, loss of inhibition, and blackouts. In some situations, this can include unusual, uncharacteristic, and even violent behavior. So take a guess what's going to happen. She's arguing with her husband, and I don't know if you guys really understood this, but is it worse if I just argue back, no, you're wrong, yada, 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 or if I just roll over and go to sleep during the argument?
Okay,
so that's
I
what
already
she's
know the answer to this one.
I've never done that. Have I?
See you later. Bye.
I've never done that.
Oh, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
All right, see you next week.
When he rolls over and says, okay, bye, see you later, I know he's pissed. That's how I know, and I gotta figure out what I gotta do to make it right before we go to bed.
Yeah, I'm the woman of this relationship.
So,
well, I guess if you were arguing back, it would kind of give off the impression that like you cared a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
if you just roll over, it's like it's not even worth arguing with.
That's
you
what I'm saying. It's like you're not even worth my time. That was his way of dealing with it. So her way of dealing with it, she's already on Zoloft, is to go get super drunk, and she has a cocaine problem too. So this one night did not turn out well for any of them. So she gets in her car after the restaurant and drives to her male friend's house. And I didn't see any affair, sexual stuff on this male friend.
He may not have even been straight.
I think he was kind of like a family friend, to be honest.
That's fine.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah, like we're friends and we're platonic friends.
That's true.
Yeah. So I tried to look up his address. I couldn't even find that. He does live in Studio City, which is really close by to Encino. But anyway, she gets in her car. She drives to Studio City. And then around 12:30 a.m. or 1 o'clock a.m., she does a little more drugs, cocaine, more alcohol. Then she drives home to her husband and she starts arguing again. And this is the home. So you see where it's not that far to drive, honestly.
Oh, yeah, right down the street.
Yeah, right down the street. So 5065 Encino Avenue is the home. So I'm showing you the Google Earth now of that. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah, nice trees.
Yeah, I'll show you inside the home in a little bit. It's actually I think it's 14,000 square feet. It's a mansion, but you can't really tell because all the trees. So she gets back here at 1 a.m. Now, keep in mind the whole time that the kids, 1619, still asleep in bed. This is 1 a.m. She comes back in extremely intoxicated on cocaine, on her prescribed Zoloft, and alcohol, and she is ready to argue. And this is the kids right here. I'm not going to go too much into their background, but they are still alive.
I would imagine they're around our age, right?
Yeah. So this was the
96?
oldest. Sean was 9, and this happened in 1998.
Yeah, so he's around our age.
Yeah, I think he is my age. The younger daughter, Bergen B. I believe that's how you say your name. If you hear this, I apologize if it's not, but it's Birgen. I know she recently posted something on Twitter that said something to the effect of I came off my Twitter diet or she wasn't posting on Twitter for a long time.
Oh, like a social media fast or something?
I broke my Twitter fast to complain about she had a coffee cup from Starbucks and they spelled her name Brigen. So she was, so she is still active on social media. I'm not going to go into them if I can help it because, it's still obviously tragic. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is they're still sleeping in bed and the wife comes home, wakes the husband up and starts yelling, screaming. Eventually she gets tired of it. He goes back to bed and around 2 a.m. Now he's snoring, sleeping in the fetal position. She decides she's had enough. She takes a 4-inch barrel revolver. She places said barrel on husband's forehead and then pulls the trigger. All right.
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay.
I was not expecting this, honestly.
So this is the type of gun used. This is a Smith & Wesson Model 15.38 caliber 4-inch blue steel revolver.
It's a small gun.
So do you know who we're talking about tonight? The celebrity couple? I know you know, Jen.
Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman.
Who is Phil Hartman?
So this is, you don't know who Phil Hartman is?
He was an SNL alum.
Yeah, this is a SNL type of guy. I'm not going to go too much into his background. I will a little bit, but so you don't know anything about Phil Hartman?
No.
Oh.
He looks familiar.
He did Bill Clinton.
Yeah, that was his famous one.
I was going to say, he now seeing his picture up there, he looks familiar, but otherwise, no.
Yeah, so he did Bill Clinton. That was one of his famous skits. And also the caveman, yeah.
Well, there you go. And we're drinking the caveman.
The caveman lawyer.
Yes.
So, yeah, he's Saturday Night Live type of guy. I honestly, guys, I can't put any footage of videos from that stuff because I don't want another copyright strike. So I can't do that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because they like threatened to shut our account down. So I'm not going to put any videos on there. And I'll put all my sources on talkmurder.com for all these photos. But I'm sorry, I can't put any videos, man. I just can't do it.
That's okay.
Our shit shut down. Anyway, this is Phil and Brynn Hartman. Remember, her name was Vicki Jo Omdahl. That's Omdahl, Wisconsin girl. And she came to California.
Minnesota?
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Minnesota girl.
Oh, wait. Can I just interrupt? Sorry. If you want to see that, you can go to NBC.com to look at the clips or YouTube.
Okay.
I mean, there's plenty on YouTube. There was actually a documentary done in 2020. It was like the last day of Phil Hartman's life, and it's pretty good. I'll link to that. They have 5 episodes of it, so they kind of want you to pay once it gets to the murdery part.
Yeah.
But I'll link to that on there. But I can't use any videos, man, because I don't want to get banned. But I decided to put some of the home videos in there because I don't think those are copyrighted. I don't know. If you're a lawyer out there, man, if you want to like tell us what we can post and not post, that'd be great.
Help us out. We want to give as much information as we can.
Yeah, because we got one copyright strike, and they were like really mean about it. It's like, dude,
Aww.
it's like you're making me tear up, man.
Aww.
I don't need this.
Oh, John, are you tearing up now?
This is from a close friend, Stephen Small, and he's also a lawyer. I got this from the Los Angeles Times. Quote, they had a pattern of arguing at night, and he would go to sleep and everything would be okay in the morning, end quote. Now, that lawyer, Stephen Small, actually handled both of Phil Hartman's divorces. So he has 2 divorces prior to this.
Now, are both of the kids from this marriage?
Yeah, that's a good question. Both of the kids are from Brynn Hartman.
Okay.
Yeah. And let me just say that when I talk about domestic issues, there's no pushing, shoving, violent stuff. Honestly, this case is more of the pressure of being an actor, and now he's getting famous, and then she's trying to make it on her own type of thing. It was just that type of stress in the home, and that kind of pushed it over the edge. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get into a little bit of the background. But if you don't know Phil Hartman, he is known for his Saturday Night Live and also his Simpsons, Troy McClure.
Oh.
Quote, he was away a lot and she and the kids were home, end quote. It was hard, but that's what you sign up for if you marry someone in the business. And that's what a friend, Andrea Diamond, said. All right, so Brynn was actually previously in a treatment center, like a rehab. She was also pretty violent when it came to the arguments. She would, and this is from the Los Angeles Times, quote, slapping, throwing, kicking, and screaming, end quote, when she would get into an argument with her husband, Phil Hartman.
So no wonder he just wanted to turn over and like not engage it.
I feel bad for him.
Yeah. Yes and no. So, as we'll talk about, he wasn't really there for her. So she's a small town Minnesota girl, comes out to California to make it in Hollywood. She does that, and I'm not saying she couldn't do it any other way, but she marries Phil Hartman, which is an up-and-comer at the time. She also dated Rob Reiner and people like that. So already, she it's almost like she was trying to implant herself into the business instead of doing the acting auditions, which she did.
Putting in the work.
Yeah, that's kind of seems what her plan was, and that's just from what I saw.
So this is Phil's 3rd marriage, correct?
3rd marriage, yeah, and none of the other ones worked out at all. I'm talking about less than a year, because Phil Hartman apparently falls head over heels for a woman, and then he, as you'll see in one of the home videos I'm going to show you in a little bit, he kind of distanced himself. He's very avoidant. He's very reclusive in his as a person. So when he falls head over heels, this is the best thing ever happened to me. But then they get married, and he starts reclusing.
So this is the longest relationship he's ever had.
Exactly, yeah.
It sounds like he has an avoidant attachment style, too.
Interesting,
which also makes sense because he would roll over instead of trying to figure out and try to work through the argument.
Definitely not one for confrontation.
So after the kids were born is when Brynn started to use the cocaine. And that was during the time where that was actually a really popular drug, so she got pretty addicted to it.
Was she going through postpartum depression and that tried
No, I didn't see anything with the kids. I mean, because the family, this was their problem. As far as Phil Hartman and Brynn Hartman, from what I saw, they loved their kids and they wanted to hide their domestic arguments from the kids. So the kids had nothing to do with it. But there was no postpartum depression. This was, and at the time of the murder, you remember Phil Hartman is on Saturday Night Live, which is filmed in New York. So he's out in New York.
So it's like a bi-coastal.
There you go. Yeah. So he's in his apartment in New York, and guess who's at the home in Encino, California, taking care of the two kids, doing all the work that a aspiring actress from small town Minnesota is. That's not her life. Her life is to make it in Hollywood, not raise some actor's kids. Does that make sense?
Yeah. She's got her own dreams, if you will.
Yeah, and so he didn't really support her in that aspect. He just kind of, here you go, here's the kids type of thing. I'm going to New York, and at this time he was getting more famous. Saturday Night Live, the President Bill Clinton interview and stuff like that. He was getting jobs like The Simpsons. He got a full-time job. Both two characters on The Simpsons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he was getting famous and more rich. So that's when this started to culminate. Because I saw somewhere where she was talking to a friend, like even grocery shopping. Like I take the kids grocery shopping and, my husband's not here. It's like even something small as going to the grocery store with me would do wonders for the relationship type of thing, But I think at the end of the day, she just wanted to be an actress, self-made, and honestly, that wasn't the role she was playing. She was playing the mother, stay at home, take care of the kids, while your husband is successful. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah. So some of the best roles, and I can't put any of the videos on here, but if you want to go look them up, I'll put some clips on there. But the Caveman Lawyer is probably one of my favorite. Also, Troy McClure, the lawyer from The Simpsons. You may remember... I can't do the voices.
Hello, I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such movies as Cry Yuma and Here Comes the Coast Guard.
He was also in big-time commercials, which paid him millions, including McDonald's and a Cheetos commercial.
Right now, get a Filet-O-Fish or McChicken for just 99 cents. Or in the morning, get a sausage McMuffin with egg for 99 cents.
And I'll link those commercials on talkmore.com. But this is the home here. This is a home video of the house, so you can kind of see what they're working with.
This is the entrance to the home. This is a family room. Hi.
That's Phil Hartman.
Here's my sink. 2 mirrors, because my split personality.
You see that?
And the hallway to the master bedroom.
Murder happened right here.
It's almost as big as our old house. And this bar area. Not much in the way of drinkers, but we love it anyway. And so pretty much, this is what our dream house is all about.
And you said that, but it doesn't look like that from the street, right?
Right, you can't see it.
You can't see it, right? It's got all the shrubbery and stuff, but you can't even see the house. But now that you actually see the video, it's like Jesus.
It's a nice house.
All right, so I'm pulling the next section from the autopsy report. Let's talk about Phil's murder here and exactly what happened. He got shot. Actually, he got shot 3 times. This is from the autopsy report. It's a little medical-y, but if you want to try it, Nicole.
There is a stellate contact gunshot wound of entrance to the forehead just above the bridge of the nose, with palpable crepitus of the temporal parietal occipital skull. There was a V-shaped suturing pattern on the pillow directly adjacent to this wound. There was a gunshot wound off entrance to the right mandible area just lateral to the chin.
Oh, hold on 1 second. So you see heavy sooting. And the reason I pulled that is because that's close range.
Yeah, for the gunpowder?
Yeah, so she actually put this barrel, and I'll show you exactly where, directly in the center of the forehead.
Wow.
So the husband's sleeping just completely out, and she puts it right there. He was shot multiple times. But,
whoa!
Yeah, multiple times. But the first shot, straight in the forehead, less than 18 inches, she held the barrel. So this was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm sick of you rolling over. I'm sick of raising these kids. And she was on the Zoloft and everything else. She just put that 4-inch barrel right to his forehead, less than 18 inches away, and just pulled the trigger. Boom. Probably didn't even think about it before she did it. She was just so fucked up on all kind of pills and cocaine and alcohol. She just boom, blew his head away.
There is heavy setting circumferential to this wound and stippling circumferential to the setting pattern. There is a similar wound to the posterior right forearm with exit out the anterior forearm and re-entry into the lower right chest, upper right abdomen.
And it goes on to say, this is the autopsy report. It goes on to say, quote, blood trails from all wounds as well as from the ears, nose, and mouth. Pillow and bedding in contact with the upper torso are saturated with wet and coagulating blood, end quote. So, very violent death. Shot multiple times. We're about to see all the bullet wounds. But this is... this video here is from the day of the murder.
Okay.
Within the wee hours, 7 a.m., 8 a.m. as it was going on. This is from ABC from 1998. So I'm showing you this video. There's no sound to it, but you can kind of see the home. You see the officers going up to the home. You can also see that is the child. That is Sean, I believe, or maybe Bergen. One of the children being dragged out of the home because he was murdered when the kids were sleeping.
Jesus.
So yeah, the kids were asleep. And he was murdered. Boom. Pretty bad. Now, what I'm showing you now is the autopsy photos, not the death photos. Those aren't available, but the medical examiner's photos. So you can see the bullet wounds. This is just in the chest area right now. So there's multiple in and out wounds. You see the circles.
Yep.
On there's even, I believe it says an abrasion on the knee. So he was shot multiple times in the chest. And as far as the head, you see where the bullet wound is in the head.
Execution style.
Yeah, that's a good point. Execution style, which is kind of crazy. I mean, why would she shoot him in the forehead? I feel like there's some psychology there. Like maybe she just didn't love him. I don't know. But just to shoot someone in the forehead execution style, it almost is like a God complex. I control your life. I control your life. I control everything. Boom, you're dead. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're going to kill your spouse, because you're looking at their face. She is sitting there on top of the bed looking at his face.
True.
Sleeping, snoozing. And when the cops found him, they quoted that he was still in that sleepy, he's dead, but his expression was that he was having a nice dream at the time, kind of just,
peaceful.
Content, peaceful. Mm. Yeah. So, just to see someone, your husband like that of so many years who has given you 2 children and then just, I feel like there's some psychology there.
Well, there's a couple of different aspects that you can think of when you talk about that. The first one is, she wanted to kill him, but maybe didn't want him to knew it would be a quick death. He wouldn't suffer. That could be one thing. The second thing is, and this is probably more out there, but when you think about comedians and actors like Phil Hartman he was so talented, and it's different than like a professional athlete where their body is the means of their craft. Like they work so hard on their sport and things like that. But like for comedians, it's all in the head. It's all in the brain.
Interesting.
So,
Jen.
So it might maybe. So maybe it was a way to.
That's deep.
Yeah. I don't know. It could have just been something that she was coked up in. No offense.
No, but that's a great point. Maybe she was so she knew his success came from his comedic mind.
Yeah, and not only that, but that was what was preventing one of the things from him being able to be around was his comedy, having to fly back and forth to New York for SNL, and then being out for his work on The Simpsons and other projects. I don't know. It's deep and it's probably far out there, but it's just a thought.
No, that's a great point.
All right, this is actually from Salon.com. They had someone very close to the case write up an article. This is 2014, but this is what the police saw when they arrived at the house.
According to police, the most likely scenario for what then transpired is this. Sometime in the next couple of hours, as Phil sleeps with his bent right leg exposed atop the sheet and the cover and his left arm extended straight out beneath him, Brynn enters the master bedroom suite. There on a closet shelf is the metal lockbox in which she and Phil keep their firearms and gun supplies. Extracting his Smith & Wesson .38, she returns to where her husband lies. From her side of the bed, she takes aim and fires the first shot. A second and third follow. One strikes the right side of Phil's cheek, just lateral to his chin. Another enters through his posterior right forearm and exits out the anterior and re-enters his right lower chest. Both are fired from no more than 18 inches away, the latter causing a fatal wound. The most damaging shot, also fatal, is fired at point blank or nearly point blank range and enters above the bridge of Phil's nose, passing through his skull and brain before it comes out the rest. Death is quick, perhaps instantaneous. Incongruously, he seems to be smiling, as if in the middle of a sweet dream.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I wonder what it was like when she pulled the trigger the first time, and she fired 2 other shots, so it's just like, wow, wow.
It's interesting that he didn't wake up.
Well, he shot her right in the head.
Yeah,
So
but
the first shot maybe killed him?
Yeah.
Instant, like that's what they're saying? I can't tell.
It says death is quick.
The
perhaps,
first shot maybe killed him instantly.
Wait.
The very bottom line, death is quick, perhaps instantaneous.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure the first one.
But it is interesting that she shot him multiple times, but
I think it was just more of a, this
Crime
is
of passion.
Yeah, crime of passion. Like I'm just someone raising your kids. You don't care about me. You're always in New York. Just fuck you. And then, you know what? Whatever. I don't know.
it's hard.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But the story gets even crazier. She then this is around 2 a.m. when she kills Phil Hartman, her husband. She then gets in her car. Now she's still drunk, and now she's got, just committed a murder of her husband. The kids are still sleeping.
It's sad.
Because it's a huge house, so they probably didn't even hear it. She actually drives back to her friend Ron Douglas's house in Studio City. And he says that she is blitz drunk and very angry. Actually, he was very angry because this is like 2:33 a.m. He says some things to her when he sees her at the door. She's in her pajama bottoms, white t-shirts. She has a Prada purse in her hand. She's yelling, screaming, waking up all the neighbors. He comes down, opens the door. What are you doing? Be quiet. Then she yells at him, quote, "Don't yell at me. Phil yells at me all the time," end quote. She then screams out that I just killed Phil. I just killed my husband. Of course, he doesn't believe it because
crazy.
She is literally drunk and on heavy amounts of cocaine. And in fact, she does more cocaine and drinks more when she's at the house after the murder.
Okay.
He doesn't believe it. She is hysterical and she starts going to the bathroom, vomiting, coming back, trying to fall asleep, vomit some more, tries to fall asleep. And she actually gets an hour or two of sleep until about 6 a.m. That's when I keep wanting to call him Ron Goldman. I don't know why. That's when Ron Douglas shakes her. Get up. We're going to the house. We're going to your house, and we're going to settle this because he still doesn't think that Phil Hartman's dead.
Well, Ron Goldman is OJ's wife's
I know, but
right?
it's Ron Douglas.
No, I was just making the connection. I was like, that name sounds familiar. Anyway.
I did not pick up on that at all.
Yeah, so if you want to go ahead and read this.
Brynn says her stomach hurts, that she's sick and passes out. Guessing she might have taken an overdose of pills, Douglas wakes her. When he does, she runs to the bathroom and vomits. This happens several times. Not off, run to the bathroom, vomit.
Ron Douglas says, you know what? It's 6 a.m. We're going to the house. I'm going to follow you there, and we're going to settle this. We're going to figure out what the hell's going on.
I think I killed Phil.
Hysterical and sobbing, she is speeding and driving erratically. Traffic laws mean little. She blows red tri-light signals at 2 intersections.
Where are you?
Judy asks.
I don't know.
Brynn replies.
I don't know. My life is over.
So Ron Douglas arrives there, and then guess what? Okay, Phil is dead. He is in the fetal position. There's blood all over the covers in the master bedroom. he's going to pick up the phone. Now, before this happened, he actually took the gun because she comes to his house drunk, vomiting. She throws her purse on the couch. The gun flops on the cushion. And then he's like, oh, maybe there is some truth to this.
Something to look at
Eventually,
here.
he looks in the chamber and half the bullets are missing. He's like, oh, fuck. That's when we got to go to the house, 6 a.m. So he actually preserves the evidence like in a grocery bag. But anyway, they get there. Immediately, he runs into master bedroom. Phil Hartman is dead, murdered by his wife, blood splattered everywhere. He's in a fetal position, doesn't even know what happened, obviously. He picks up the phone and calls 911, and this is the transcript of that right here. This is between the operator and Ron Douglas.
Emergency operator 614.
Hi, there's been a shooting at 5065 Encino Boulevard.
How many people are shot?
Just one, and
Do you know what part of the body?
I think around the head and the neck. I just got here.
The person who shot him, is he still around?
Yes, she's his wife.
The wife shot him and they're both there?
Yeah.
Is she hurt at all?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to calm her down, okay?
Hello, sir?
Yeah.
Was this on purpose or was this an accident? Do you know what happened?
I have no idea. She was drunk. She said she killed her husband and I didn't believe her.
Okay, are they both there now?
You're right. Now you can trace this address because I'm not sure.
All right, where's the weapon now?
It's in my hand because she brought it to my house.
What's your name, sir?
My name's Ron Douglas.
All right, sir. We're going to get the officers on the way.
Now, around 6:20 a.m., SWAT team arrives at the house on Encino Boulevard. And they're there to remove the children because they know that there's 2 children in the house. Brynn has now barricaded herself in the master bedroom with her dead husband,
Oh,
no.
who was shot at 1:30ish a.m. So he's been dead for about 6 hours now. So she is there on the bed.
With her
right-
dad.
With what?
With her dad.
No.
No,
Brynn. With her husband.
with
Got
her
it.
husband,
Sorry.
yeah. She's on the bed right now with her husband, her dead husband.
Is she sobering out a little bit?
Well, so that's a good question. Probably, yeah, because of time, but the BAC was 0.12 when they actually took processed her, but and she also ate cocaine and stuff like that. Around 6:32 a.m., the police actually call Brynn's phone number because they've now got the kids out. They're coming in to arrest her, to get her out of there, to calm the situation down. So they call her phone.
At 6:32, Brynn's bedroom phone rings. She answers.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, this is the police department. Is Ronnie home?
Yes.
Brynn says,
Come in.
Ma'am?
Yes?
Is there someone who's been shot there?
Yes.
Okay, how many people are inside the house?
Help me.
crying. Brynn hangs up. The police call back.
Ma'am.
Hello? Hello?
Ma'am, how many people are inside the house right now?
I don't know.
Okay, thank you. I don't know why I said thank you.
Because it said thank you.
I know, but he's like, thank you.
This was so intense.
I hope that, I was talking like this, but my face was on the mic, so I hope that went in there okay.
You good?
Yeah. It's all good. She hears the police. It's actually the SWAT team that go in there. Obviously, they're not trying to go in there shooting. They know the wife killed the husband. Main priority? Get the kids out of there. Then she calls her sister, which lives in Eau Claire. I think I'm saying that right. Eau Claire, Wisconsin. This is what she says to her sister.
Tell my kids that I love them more than anything, and I always love them. If mommy doesn't know what happened, she's just very sorry.
She hangs up the phone. Now the police, she's actually barricaded in the door. She didn't bring a dresser, but she's locked it. She probably pushed a chair against the door or something. She's in the bed with her dead husband, who is now starting to decompose. So she's coming down off the drugs, the alcohol. She's surrounded. Not that they're coming in there shooting, But she's barricaded in the door, in the home. She calls her sister, says, please tell, out of all the things, please tell my daughter, my son, that I love them. Quote, mommy doesn't know what happened, and she's just very sorry, end quote. She's crying hysterically. She knows the police are about to bust in, and around that time, she takes her own revolver, which is a 2-inch 38 caliber 5-shooter.
So this is a different gun?
A different gun, and places said revolver inside her own mouth. She then pulls the trigger.
Oh, no.
So she committed suicide. She was dressed in a 2-piece pajama outfit. She is found laying next to her dead husband, Phil Hartman, who was in the fetal position. She was actually pushed up against the bed, and there was 2 pillows behind her back as a support, but she was sitting up. Phil Hartman, her husband, was in the fetal position. It almost like he was like cuddling up to her, So
she was on the side that he was? Like if
he made it spooning?
Yeah, the spooning. That's how I'm taking it. Yeah, so he was facing her, if that's what you mean.
So like if he was on this side of the bed facing out, she sat on the same side of the bed and
from
shot
what
herself?
I'm taking, yeah, it's almost like I know this is crazy, but she wanted to be with him the last second. Think about the psychology. If you kill your significant other and you actually love them, it was just a mistake. You were on drugs, drinking heavily, just something stupid happened. You want to be as close as possible to them when you take your own life, type of thing. So I think that's how I got it, but she was right next to her husband and up against the wall, up against the headboard, and she puts the barrel in her own mouth, and she pulls the trigger. Her BAC, as I said earlier, was .12. The gun was actually still in her hand, and actually the finger was still on the trigger. The time of death was 6:38 a.m. If you want to read this.
A fatal bullet passes through her brain and lodges in the headboard. Her head slumps toward Phil, and her shooting hand drops to the right, almost touching him. Her index finger is still on the trigger.
So
that's really
one of the Saturday Night
That's
Live
heartbreaking
curses.
Heartbreaking.
That's the tragic murder.
So what happened to the kids?
Yeah.
The kids, so immediately the 2 kids were sent to live with relatives in Wisconsin and with her sister, Brynn's sister.
God.
Katherine Wright was her name, and her husband, Mike, in Eau Claire. Is that how you say it?
Eau Claire.
Eau Claire. And when the kids were in the police station, the close friend, Joel Diamond, and we had said a quote from him earlier, but he said, quote, they were both crying and looked kind of numb, end quote. So a little bit about the repercussions of this story. Gregory Omdahl, which was Brynn's brother, remember she was an Omdahl, he actually sued Zoloft because the toxicology report came out and she was under Zoloft backed with the alcohol.
Was she taking the right amount of dosage, or did she take too many of them?
It seemed like it was normal prescription.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, from what I can see.
Interesting that they would try to sue for that.
Yeah, they did. I mean, honestly, they did kind of push this whole case off on Zoloft as far as the public sentiment is that this was an antidepressant case.
I feel like that's hard, though, unless it was too early. I don't remember exactly when Zoloft was created, but it wasn't it's not like it's a recent case where we have all of these warnings about taking the pill while you are under the influence of alcohol or drugs. But I feel like if they had that warning on there, then you can't really get much from a lawsuit on it because she was abusing.
They can if your husband is a Saturday Night Live star. Yeah, and what I'm trying to say is this is worldwide news. You know what I'm saying? They're getting a lot of scrutiny on this.
Well, yeah, it shocked Hollywood. It shocked, a lot of the world because he was a very popular celebrity. And, obviously I was too young to appreciate him when he was in his prime.
I never liked it. I not to be mean, but I never liked his acting, man. I never did. I just didn't really understand. It wasn't really funny to me. He would always play a serious role. where it's serious, but he's also funny.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like Chris Farley was my kind of go-to, where he's just
In a van down by the river.
yeah, in a van down by the like Phil Hartman. He was great, but he was more like just he was almost like the father figure of whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the more mature guy. You can always tell.
Yeah, but I mean,
Do you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm not really familiar with a lot of his skits.
I just never.
But I can see how it sent shockwaves across, the acting industry, and especially if she was involved in the acting industry as well. But I just feel like, it's hard to say what really, was going through her mind when she's using and abusing these drugs. Is she like really at fault? Was this something that is it something that normally would happen if she wasn't on Zoloft and was only using cocaine and alcohol, or was only using alcohol and Zoloft, or only using cocaine and Zoloft? Like it's
a good point.
I mean, now that I think about it, I feel like it may be. I mean, because she has 2 kids. She loved them, obviously, and I know like the reason she is arguing and stuff like that is because her husband is now becoming famous, really famous, rich, and she is taking care of the kids, and he's not even on the same side of the country,
right.
So, but is that enough to put a barrel of a gun to your husband's forehead and end it all?
It depends. I mean, honestly,
and then leave the kids there.
Well, I think that her murder and her dying by suicide were 2 separate events that could have been, brought up by the same thing, the same night of drinking and using drugs. Like maybe she wasn't. I mean, she clearly wasn't in a sober mindset when she pulled the trigger on her husband. That's clear. She was sobering up and when they got her BAC, she clearly wasn't sober. But when you're thinking about taking your own life, like is that something that she normally would do if she wasn't under the influence of those drugs?
I would though, but I mean, if your life is over, what are you gonna spend the rest of your life in prison? Like, I mean, she probably thought that, like, my life is over. Like, kids are never going to see me. I mean, if they do, it's going to be behind a bulletproof glass.
But that's not necessarily true when you think about our legal system. And she could have argued that it wasn't necessarily a first-degree murder. Maybe the intent wasn't there from begin with because she was under the influence. So there's different perspectives that you can take. And I'm not saying she should or shouldn't have done this or that, because obviously we can't change the past, and it's a very tragic event. But you have to kind of take a look at both of the shootings in different, and it's like from different perspectives. Is it a domino effect, or was it effect of the drugs, or was it something that was a preconceived notion in her head that would only be able to pull out because of the drugs? I
mean, I think she killed herself because she knew. Because let's go back to the conversation she had with Judy in the car on the way to the house. Quote, "I don't know, my life is over," end quote. So she knew that she was, I mean, that's it, man. Like, I don't know, that's just me. But
that's interesting.
Gregory Omdahl did eventually sue Zoloft, the medication, and he claims that his sister's psychologist did not properly diagnose her condition. And obviously, I mean, these Hollywood actresses and actors, I mean, they kind of just, like, I need this and that and the other pill or whatever. And they get it. I mean, they're actors. Anyway, this is a list of the stuff that Phil Hartman's been in. I just kind of scrolled up a little bit. Yeah, so he started, and he's been in a lot of Pee Wee Herman. Yeah, he was Captain Carl and Pee Wee Herman.
Scooby-Doo.
The Dukes. And so you can see these are kind of no one knows these roles sort of thing. But then you can see it really, you can see his fame skyrocketing here, and that is when this culminated.
Brave Little Toaster, Spaceballs.
Yeah, Spaceballs.
DuckTales.
So he's been in a lot of stuff. The Smurfs.
Tailspin. Darkwing Duck.
And then this is where he starts getting really famous around this time when he joins Saturday Night Live and The Simpsons.
Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah.
Dana Carvey show, which was a flop.
Yeah. So let me see. He had 182 episodes with Saturday Night Live. But yeah, so that's pretty much him in a nutshell.
Well, rest in peace.
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't go too deep into the family dynamic. I mean, I don't think he didn't love his wife, but he's one of those actors, man, that are just so reclusive. It's almost like what's his name, Robin Williams. You know, he just wants to be by himself, and he's so talented, but he's just a loner, an isolationist type of thing. I think that's how Phil Hartman was, but then he tried to fit the mold of, okay, I've got to be a husband, but that's just not his style, man.
Yeah.
You know, you got to David Duchovny that shit. Be like Californication.
Yeah, but when you're thinking about a comedian and you make that, I haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen that.
But when you're making the comparison to Robin Williams, especially,
Robin Williams.
You're expected to be on all the time.
Yeah.
And you may not, I mean, I feel like celebrities have everything at their disposal.
Yeah, but we do, yeah.
But may not have the opportunity or may not be, know how to go about getting the right kind of help. So, maybe Phil was going through a time where he was really suffering. Like I said, it sounds like he had an avoidant attachment style, but maybe he did kind of retrieve into his own thoughts, which may have been a safe space for him. I don't know. It's just hard. Like you can't, especially when he's like in that time period starting to rise to fame, when you start to see the demands of fame on a person, which we can't even comprehend at this point, almost, but not quite. But it's certainly something where it's different than a normal life. So maybe, I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with that point, but it's difficult.
No, it's good thought for sure.
Yeah.
Sad story.
Sad. The kids are still around. They went to the sisters in Wisconsin. They also inherited, I think, a $1.23 million estate. So I guess they're still living off that. I mean, so that is the murder of Phil Hartman and the suicide of his wife. I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Sad.
Yeah.
Very sad. Very sad.
I'll put all the sources, photos, videos on talkmurder.com. Be sure to go there and bookmark that site because it's great. Also, if you want to support us, go to talkmurder.com/join and become a Talgo Supremo, and we will do a bunch of stuff for you. Like she's taking care of all that stuff, so she's good with that.
She is the taco liaison.
Yeah. So anyway, my name is John. I'm here with Jen and Nicole. And until next time, good night, you lovely, lovely people.